If you are easily triggered or offended, please exercise caution. Because the hosts really don't care. Warning, this show is not for children. And not for coworkers either. And yes, that includes you, Cindy. And could you warn us the next time you're bringing in fish for lunch?
Spicy tacos, spicy chicken.
There once was a show on the net called, starring JJW and Deacon You Bet, called Your Two Dads. These amateurs had no clue what they were doing yet. I thought today we would talk in rhymes. Are you ready for that? For a whole show where we're rhyming? What do you think about that?
I don't think I'm ready for that, dude. I haven't even had one drink of coffee yet. You want me to rhyme?
You look like you just woke up. You look like your hair is sticking up on the side. And
I've been trying to figure out what to call this show, and like big news is happening, but it's not sexy, so it's not fun. So it's not like, oh, there's a bad guy we can make fun of. It's like, oh, there's a mega corporation. It's Anyway, good morning. How are you, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to the show. I am JJ. That is Deacon. That is Deacon. Right there. He's right there. Oh, wow. All I got to do is point right there, and I'm pointing at you. We meet here every morning, Monday through Friday, 6:30 in the morning. We drink coffee. We talk about the news, politics, entertainment. I guess we do nursery rhymes now.
Live commentary, nursery rhymes.
Where did that rhyme come from?
Movie reviews. That rhyme came from artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it's an AI limerick. We got a little AI news story. AI news later in the day. Yeah.
I'm an AI person. I use chat. I use AI every day. I use it for several things every day. It has helped me in my job immensely. I don't have it to where it automates my job. I have thought on how I could get it to automate my job with the vocal AI and stuff. I think I could do it.
I think that the 11 Labs API is like, it's not free. It costs a little bit of money.
Yeah, it would cost me some money to do it, but I use the others for to help me with AI. To me is a brainstorming partner.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you would sit together with DJs and you get around and you would kind of hang out in the jock lounge, and y'all would talk about silly stuff and whatnot. And you're throwing out ideas. Hey, what do you think about this? And that's what the AI is to me, is like a brainstorming partner. So yeah, we got some cool AI stories coming up.
That's good. The cool thing about it is that it'll generate it'll take a bunch of things and assemble it and like an idea, kind of a structure of something. And then you can be like, I don't like that. Try again. And unlike you, who can get an idea in your head and you'll be like, you'll hold on to it. Even when you try to think of something else, you'll try to bring the thing in that you already kind of liked, but didn't get exactly right. You won't let go of an idea to try something else. AI just doesn't even care. It's no fidelity.
Sweet. Next. But you've got
spaceships in a kids park.
That's what I was telling a friend of mine yesterday. He's a former teacher of mine, and he writes an article for one of the little bitty papers around here, and we were joking about it. And I said, you need to bring in one of your articles. I said, you need to bring in several of your articles so I can give AI an example of your writing style, and then I will have it generate an article for you, and you can say in the paper that I've had AI completely write this article, and you tell me, my readers, what do you think? And he was like, ooh, that sparked an idea, and he was like, ooh, really? You could do that? I was like, yeah. I said, AI is really cool, but you can't just blank and go hit enter. And that's what you can't just do that. You've got to keep refining. It's like a friend. It's like I said, it's a brainstorming partner. It's like, well, what do you think about this? And it says blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, I don't like that. What if we change this? And it's like, okay, well, what about this with this in it? And you're like, that's cool, but let's change this part. And
it's so fast. It'll
so fast. Now you don't have to sit there till I would be mowing the yard, sitting there thinking of stuff for my stories, going, "Oh yeah, it took 45 minutes to come up with one concept that AI's pinging out real quick. What about this? And what about this? And what about this? And what about this?
It was about a month ago, and we haven't got back to it at all. But it was about a month ago that I was like, Deke, what if we have these audio drama scripts? And I kicked out one, and then I was like, I like that, but hold on, this part I don't like. Go back and change it so that these two characters interact, and then it would just iterate through. And I was like, oh, this is great. But
those scripts, I haven't forgot about those, by the way. They're good. All right,
maybe that'll be a summer project.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the song of the day. Let's do song of the day. I was just going to say, if you haven't already, if you're not watching on rumble.com/JJW, if you are on YouTube, YouTube might shut the show down at any given minute. So please head over to rumble.com/JJW and make sure you're watching over there. And if you want to, later in the show, we have a place where you can join the Discord server. It'll be coming up on the screen in a little bit. Okay. Song.
Ooh, yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, that's cool.
And
that's
and more. Did you see the shirts I started making yesterday?
Yeah, you're weird. No, those shirts are really cool. Those were good. At first I was like, and then I was like, oh, okay, I see what he's doing. Okay, so let's get to the song of the day. Adding a song to Deke's playlist. You can find Deke's playlist on our Discord server. Scroll down. We are doing pianists and keyboardists this week. All right. I have a song today. JJ won't get this, but this song has one of my favorite lyrics, one of my favorite lines to a piece of music. Okay. I have some of my favorite lyrics, and this is one of them. When I say, the time to hesitate is through. What does that, the time to hesitate is through. Does that remind you of a song? Any song, a classic rock song? The time to hesitate is through. The time to wallow in the mire.
Okay, Jim Morrison, Doors. Yeah.
Way to go, dude. I am really impressed with you this morning.
Yeah, my first memory of the Doors is the Val Kilmer movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love Val Kilmer. I forgot about that movie. Wow, yeah, I forgot about that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So we're highlighting keyboardists this week, and I want to give you one that you have a song that you've heard a million times. Maybe not the long version. You've heard the radio cut a million times, but I want you to listen to this week, Ray Manzarek. Ray Manzarek was the architect for the Doors. He was their keyboardist. He was the reason the Doors sounded the way they did. The Doors had 4 members: Jim Morrison, the singer, Robbie Krieger, the guitarist, Ray Manzarek, the keyboardist, and the drummer. Hell, I can't remember. I can't believe I can't remember the drummer's name off the top of my head. It'll come to me in just a second. But they did not have a bass player. Okay. Ray Manzarek was their rhythm. He was their bass. He was the reason they sounded the way they did. So I want you to listen to Light My Fire by the Doors. I've got the long version that I'll post here in just a second because you hear the little short version on the radio. The radio has the 3-minute long version. That's not the version that you're required to listen to today. You need to listen to the 7-minute long version of Light My Fire because that's the version that Ray Manzarek's keyboard solo is in. If you listen to the short radio version, the radio edit,
is it at the back end?
They've cut his keyboard solo out because it's a very long keyboard solo. Okay.
Oh my gosh. It's minute 1 all the way through like minute 5.
Yeah, it's a long keyboard solo because if you think about it, that song is the time to hesitate is through. It's not very many lyrics to the song. They repeats the same thing over and over again because that song is a keyboard solo. And I mean, there's a Robbie Krieger. He plays a guitar solo in the middle of it too, a little sitar sounding guitar solo. But I remember when I was a child, JJ, and remember we used to listen to the radio quite a bit back then because we had tapes and we would tape our songs off the radio with our audio cassette tapes. So I remember I would fall asleep with the radio on. And I remember one morning, it was a Saturday morning, and I can remember the radio station was playing this song, but they were playing the long version. And I can remember being half asleep, half awake, listening to Ray Manzarek's keyboard solo. And every time I hear this song now, it takes me back to like 8 or 9 years old, laying in my bed, listening to this Doors song one Saturday morning on the radio, just kind of play. Cause I thought, God, this is the longest song in the world. because it's 7 minutes long. It's
Right.
great. I don't want to harp on this forever, but Light My Fire, the 7-minute long version, go over to the Deeks playlist, and I'll have a link there in just a second. Ray Manzarek, unbelievable keyboard player. All the Doors stuff. Listen to any Doors stuff and just listen to Ray Manzarek play. He's great.
So I can totally imagine, but not, not practically remember, but I can imagine at one time maybe being a little bit inebriated and listening to this, and this
Just
7
takes you
minutes could
away.
stretch on for some hours.
45. I know. You sit there and you're listening to that, and you're like, man, as if we've been sitting here for 3 hours now listening to this song.
Is this thing ever going to end? How long is this?
It's great.
record?
I love that though, man. I love it.
All right. Okay. Good morning, everybody. This is your two dads. Deacon's a dad. I'm a dad. You need a dad. Everybody needs a dad. We're here for you. We want to hear about all your problems, and we want to celebrate all the good things that happen in your life. Maybe don't want to hear all about all your problems, though.
I'm a dad. You're a dad. He's a dad. You're a dad.
So today's episode, where's my picture? Today's show title, Who's Left Holding the Bag? Deacon, did you hear the First Republic has failed? The First Republic Bank. This is the third
from Star Wars? Like Kylo Ren?
Is that what you're talking about? See that would have been useful for me, because I could have probably done like a Star Wars bank theme.
You could have put Kylo Ren up there. Is that not who you're talking about? The First Republic?
That would have been a great idea. Okay. No, First Republic Bank. The First Republic Bank.
I saw that this morning. I don't know the whole story, but I saw that was a major headline this morning. I thought, well, we'll hear about that today.
I actually saw it yesterday morning, but it was when I got up at like 5 and the story broke at 4, but I didn't have enough context to put it together before we did the show. It's like, what's this mean? So First Republic Bank, you guys remember like a month ago, we had SVB Bank that basically failed and caused a real concern over a banking crisis.
Wait, you had what now? What was it called?
SVB. I don't know what it was called. SVB.
Okay. Yeah. Silicon Valley Bank is what they, because we have one around here called FNB. First National Bank is what the FNB stands for, but they're not called First National Bank anymore. That years ago, they shortened their name to that acronym, FNB. So all their signs say FNB, FNB. When you talk to the people, they say FNB, we're FNB Bank, we're FNB Bank, we're FNB Bank. And I told that lady like 2 or 3 weeks ago, she said that. I wasn't trying to be an ass. We were kind of
yeah.
She said FNB Bank, and I was like, you do FNB realize bank? You're saying First National Bank, right? Your First National Bank is what you're saying. So, yeah, the SVB Bank. When people were saying that, right. SVB Bank, I was like, you're saying Silicon Valley Bank.
So about a month or so ago, there was the Silicon Valley Bank that collapsed and ended up being bought out by some Swiss banking conglomerate of some kind. And at the same time, First Republic was failing, but because, banks are too important to fail, our federal government, the Fed, gave it like a $30 billion loan or something like that to kind of get it back up there. Well, sure. That didn't work.
Oh, it didn't work. JJ, that didn't work?
It didn't work. No.
Why not? I wonder. Why wouldn't something like that work with people that don't know how to manage fucking money in the first place, and you just throw more money at them?
Well,
that's like giving a drug dealer more drugs to quit doing drugs. You dumbasses.
That's actually pretty accurate. So we don't
quit.
It's not necessarily that they didn't know how to manage money. It's like the rules of the system that we allow kind of allowed them to do things that were very, very dangerous. So First Republic
Bank didn't know what the fuck they were idiots.
Well, you can be dumb, or you could be trying to remain competitive. Because all the other banks are doing this same thing. All the other banks are doing the same thing.
Remaining competitive like that is fucking idiotic. So in my opinion, you're still fucking dumb.
Okay, so we'll get into some details about this a little bit. So First Republic Bank has failed. The federal government has seized the bank and sold it to JP Morgan as of like 4 a.m. yesterday. At the time of the seizure, First Republic Bank had $229 billion in we'll say in assets and obligations, so accounts, and they had $103 billion in deposits. They had $229 billion in assets, but only had $100 billion in cash, which means that they were over leveraged over 50%. So the way that the banking industry works, boys and girls, is that they borrow your money for free or for practically free. And then
here's how it works. JJ gives me $100 to hold for him.
yes,
all right.
please hold my dollar, keep it secure.
I'm going to charge JJ a couple of pennies to hold his dollar for him.
Right.
All right. Because I'm kind of fucking watch his money now. It's my responsibility to keep up with JJ's dollar now for him. So I'm going to charge him a little bit of a fee.
Actually, it's the other way. You give me a penny or so. Because
the reason I give you a penny is because I take your dollar and I go over here and I bet it on this fucking horse track over here, and that horse fucking wins. So I come back and I say, JJ, here's a couple extra pennies, man. Because I'm a nice guy.
You're a nice guy. Hey, thanks. I got my 10.
You're going to give me more money? Sweet. I'll hold your $10 now, JJ.
Right.
This on the horse 5 and horse 10. That's exactly what they don't bet on horses, of course, people. I was using that as a humorous example.
That's a metaphor. That's
called a metaphor.
So we have regulations in place by the government, and we have standard business practices of the market. So when you're a bank and a bank management team or whatever, you got choices that you can make. But you have to be mindful that next door is another bank that people can go to, and another bank that people can go to. So you have to offer out like interest rates that are competitive with all of your neighbors, and you also got to be mindful that some other people may get their accounts instead of you. So there's constraints on these banks. One of the rules is that I believe that banks are required to hold something like at least 10% of the deposits. They're supposed to keep them, in the bank system, 10%. So if I lend Deacon if I put $100 into the bank, Deacon's allowed to lend out like 90% of that to other people at 6, 7, 8% interest. So surprisingly, the bank has more lent out than it has on hand. So that's what happened. And I don't know. Do you have a local bank, or do you have one of these national chain banks?
We have we have both, but we have a local bank that has turned into a big
regional, regional kind of thing.
Yeah. They've got I'm not going to say their name, but we had a local hometown bank that now they have 15 offices in 6 counties, and the main office that they have in my hometown, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful multi-million-dollar building in my rinky-dink little fucking farming town. So it's beautiful, but let me tell you, all the fucking people that walk into that bank stick out like a sore thumb. There's 2 types of people in my county. All right. There's 2 types of people where I live. There's people that want to live in the city so bad, and then there's people that don't want to live in the city so bad. There's no in between. No in between.
Yeah, I kind of don't want to live in the city.
No, I'm not.
And I don't even live in the city. I live in the suburbs, and I'm like,
I don't even want to live where you live. That where
can
you
we
live
get
is
farther
like hell
out?
to me. That's like, oh my god, I couldn't.
Yeah, it's my wife had a questionable encounter with a homeless guy yesterday. Maybe she'll talk about it. Okay.
Sorry, I'm an asshole.
So
all right, I got a bunch of stories. Do you have?
Yeah, we got another one that's important here. Okay, so that's the First Republic Bank has folded, and if you have more than the FDIC limit in the bank, you should really consider how you're storing your money. But that's not a problem that I have. So here's another important story, but it's not sexy. Oh, I didn't even pull a picture up for the last one. Whatever. So this isn't sexy, but this is important. And it's going to be important for a little while to come, but it's going to be dripped out in little bits because that's the way the news works with the Supreme Court. Why are you chuckling?
I'm chuckling because I was like, when did the word sexy become one of the words that we need to describe?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, what do I mean?
It's not one of the words when I'm looking through news stories. I'm like, is that one sexy enough to be on our show? No.
What should I?
It's never went through my mind.
Well, that's because I'm
no,
thinking
it's great.
about.
I love it. Put the story back up.
I'm thinking about like, what do I put on screen to get people to watch this show?
You're great. It's a perfect word. I'm just making fun of you because it's hilarious.
Yeah, that's fine. Make fun of me. Okay,
I love it. Put the story back up. Okay.
Yeah. SCOTUS has granted review of a case that could potentially gut the federal bureauccy. Now I'm not going to go. Yeah.
What does that mean, JJ?
So explain. I'm not going to go too.
I'm stupid. I'm an idiot.
No, you just don't care. So there is this thing from 1984. The Supreme Court ruled in a case called Chevron USA v. Natural Resources Defense Council, Inc. And the ruling of that case in 1984 became known as the Chevron Doctrine. This is the Chevron Doctrine. Courts and judges are to defer to federal bureaucracy when the law is unclear exactly about what the intents are. That is, so really? This is called the Chevron. Yeah. So if the law is kind of vague and it gives room for bureaucrats to, if it gives room for bureaucrats to interpret things, then the court is to defer to the bureaucrats and allow them to interpret things and basically make up rules, which is exactly how we have things like the ATF making up rules about bump stocks and pistol grips and arbitrary definitions about guns, and then using that to reduce your right to own guns and every other thing in the bureaucracy. This is how federal bureaucrats have accumulated power, and because the courts are like, well, the Chevron Doctrine says that we're not really supposed to interrupt and intervene. We're supposed to just let them do this. So that is going to be heard before the Supreme Court. And that case will be heard, and then maybe the court will make a decision that will restrict the. Look at us! Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, on Rumble.com, your two dads are on the podcast top 10.
Look, we're somebody right beside us is talking about Gordon Lightfoot. Do you know Gordon Lightfoot? Remember Gordon Lightfoot, the classic rock artist, the classic country artist? He passed away.
I read the name, and I knew that he passed, and I don't know who he is.
He sung the song "The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald," and that song "Sundown, You'll Never Be Carried."
Hold on, the wreck.
The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald was the song about the Edmund Fitzgerald, the tanker. It wasn't a tanker. It was a cargo ship that was going through the Great Lakes, one of those Great Lakes up there, and had a major accident and sank and killed those people. You don't remember that big the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald? You've heard that freaking song before. It's a classic rock song from the 70s.
This song is so slow. No way.
I've never heard the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. That's a classic, man. That's a radio station staple. 10,000.
It sounds like it's an old shanty.
It is. He wrote it in that style. It's not. It is, but he wrote it in that style. Gordon Lightfoot was a folk singer. He was a straight up barefoot hippie folk singer type guy.
I saw that he died, and I've gotten to the point about this stuff where if you kind of don't bring it up, I kind of don't mention it. If like a celebrity dies, because sometimes a celebrity dies, and I'm like, oh no, that's awful. I care. There's so many. Honestly, there's so many.
There's some.
Sometimes I don't know who they are. So I saw that he died, and
well, I was looking through this morning, and I saw it said Gordon Lightfoot passed away. It's like, I got to do something on the radio for him because I play Gordon Lightfoot stuff, and I love Gordon Lightfoot. And I know another famous person died that you might not know, but folks around here do. His name is Mike Shannon. He was a Cardinal broadcaster. He was a St. Louis Cardinal player, but he was a St. Louis Cardinal. He was the voice of the St. Louis Cardinals for 50 years. He joined the broadcast team in 1972 with Jack Buck. You might know that name. Jack Buck was a legendary baseball broadcaster. His son Joe Buck is a broadcaster now for football, NBC. He does all the Super Bowls and everything. You've heard Joe Buck's, but Mike Shannon was a legendary Cardinal broadcaster. Folks around here that are Cardinals fans, he was a voice that we all heard every freaking night on the radio. And so it was a very distinct sounding voice. He's got his own restaurant and stuff there in St. Louis that we've been to. And so he passed away on Sunday, and that was another big thing. He had been a broadcaster for 50 years. And I'm a broadcaster, so that's another extra layer for me.
Right. I mean, it's I live in Texas. I don't know anything about the Cardinals.
Right, you're right. If you said so and so from the Texas Rangers broadcaster, I'd be like, I don't know who that is.
But that doesn't mean it's not important. It is important.
Right.
So, okay. This song is really slow.
It tells a really great song, or it tells a really great story.
We can play like 6 seconds of it.
No, don't play it. I want you to listen to it on your own. Listen to some Gordon Lightfoot today.
He's
really good.
Put it in the thing. Okay, all right. So we're moving off of the Supreme Court. There's one other thing. The Supreme Court also intervenes in the gun bans challenged by firearms groups. So Illinois, I was looking up. We had our little tete-a-tete in the memes channel on our server a few days ago, and I started looking up gun violence and gun crimes. And Mr. E, if you're here, I'm glad you're here. And he was making some, I don't know, assertions about people having more guns and it being more and more dangerous. So I looked up and I looked up the homicide rates per capita across 50 states, and I also looked up gun restrictions. Which states have more restrictions? Which states have less? Texas has fewer gun restrictions than most other states. We are a constitutional carry state, and Illinois has possibly the most restrictions on gun rights across the entire state, across the entire country. And Illinois has a higher per capita gun homicide rate than I think they're like number 3 in the country. So it seems like there's very little correlation between constraining rights and reducing violence.
Is that where I saw? Did you post that? Because I saw something recently about all the places that have gun restrictions have more gun violence, or just as much gun violence.
Yeah, just as much. Like
other places with even with the gun restrictions or not. And I remember reading that recently somewhere. I didn't know if you had posted that, because I've seen those things. That's what I was looking for on my phone. I was like, did I just save that recently somewhere? Because I remember seeing that.
I just didn't want to accelerate any more arguments about it, because you're not really changing anybody's opinion. But it does not appear that severely constraining rights results in less gun violence. It doesn't appear that way. But I mean, whatever. I'm sort of in the maximum liberty camp myself. So the Supreme Court is intervening in Illinois' gun bans. So what's happened is, I believe Illinois has had their local little towns and areas start making their own firearms restrictions, making it illegal in certain cities and areas and counties to own weapons. Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett requested a further response from Illinois locality after gun rights advocates sued over a recently passed ban on certain firearms. The gun rights advocates are challenging a city ordinance passed last year by Naperville, Illinois, which is similar to an Illinois state law enacted this year, barring the sale and possession of certain semi-automatic rifles and magazines. Barrett, who handles appeals stemming from the U.S. courts for the 7th Circuit, asked Naperville officials to respond by May 8th. What the state is apparently not allowed to do, cities are trying to do, and I can imagine this will go tits up for them. So,
you think maybe?
Yeah, pretty sure.
You think this is not going to be successful for them? Why, JJ? Why would you think this is not going to be successful for the city?
That pesky Constitution. That
Man,
pesky Constitution. Don't
speaking
worry, they'll get. Oh yeah, hey, speaking of the Constitution of the United States, well, is it the
not really. It's
Constitution?
kind of in the same. No, it's not the
Yeah,
Constitution, but it's same in the same vein. Do you want to
I
pull the
got,
thing?
I got the, I got the picture, and then you can talk about it.
Okay,
Ready?
dude, this was really cool. Yeah,
Oh,
this Declaration of Independence was found underneath this painting that this woman bought for $4, and it just sold for 7 million at an auction.
whoa,
Yeah,
that's an
so
investment.
yeah, at just $4, a collector picked up the painting purely because he liked the picture frame. So this dude goes in, I don't remember where it was, and he wants this picture frame and $4 for this painting in this picture frame. $4 for a sweet looking picture frame. If you're going through Goodwill and you see a nice big picture there, and it's a glass
Do you have any
frame picture.
photos? Is there any? There's no photos in the
I
story.
don't see one. But you know as well as I do, going through Goodwill and you see a big picture frame there, $4. That's a
Yeah. My Deacon guys,
allergies
Deacon
are
likes to
kicking
go to thrift shops, and we like to go to thrift shops. It's
no. Well, my daughter loves. They just went last night. That she loves to go to thrift shops, and I'll be walking
Yeah.
through, and sometimes you'll see some really cool stuff. So
Sometimes you do.
basically, collector picked up the painting purely because he liked the picture frame, despite thinking the painting was dismal, but discovered an immaculate original copy of the Declaration of Independence within the frame once he dismantled it. It was in the frame. This particular copy was one of just 25 of the original batch of declarations printed in 1776, making it
What?
almost priceless, almost being the
my
operative
God.
word here. Following his incredible discovery, the man wasted no time in sending the copy to auction in 1991, where he's expected to fetch a tidy sum of $800,000 to $1 million in that day. He kept the declaration, which he found hiding behind a painting. Let's see, it went to auction again in 2000, and then it sold. So meant $7 million. This thing is crazy. I'm sorry, I had to wrap that up real quick. If you want to finish reading that, go ahead. I've got to talk on the radio real quick here.
That is cool. I couldn't find any photos of the unspeakably fresh copy of the Declaration of Independence, but that is pretty mind blowing. I can only imagine that it was like in the frame behind like a board or something where people wouldn't have seen it. I don't know. It's pretty strange. It would be nice if this article had a photo of the thing. Let's pull this down. And good morning, everybody. By the way, over on rumble.com, we appreciate you watching us and putting us on the front page. It's because of you. But since you're over there, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Let's see what's going on. Deacon really wants to talk about that. Let's talk about AI for a minute. I saw this story yesterday on a strange website called Insider Paper. I don't know what the credibility of Insider Paper is, but apparently scientists are using AI to decode thoughts. To decode thoughts. Can AI read your mind? Scientists said Monday that they have found a way to use brain scans and AI modeling to transcribe the gist of what people are thinking, as described towards a step towards mind reading. While the main goal of the language decoder is to help people who have lost the ability to communicate, U.S. scientists acknowledge that the technology raised questions about mental privacy. Aiming to assuage such fears, they ran tests that their decoder could not be used on anyone who had not allowed it to be trained on their brain activity over long hours inside of a functional magnetic resonance imaging scanner. So this is what they were doing. They would put people into an MRI machine, and they would take like scans of your brain, and then they would talk to you about certain words, or they tell you certain stories. And as you're engaging with what you're listening to or what you're talking about or whatever, then your different areas of your brain light up, and the imager was recording that. And then as they basically go through various stories, various imagery, various kind of thoughts and ideas, that they can map out what you're thinking. And then the AI takes that information and digests it, and then they can let's see, Well, I'm not gonna. I'm
And
just gonna
then they
summarize
can
it.
learn how to please the human overlords.
Well, what they were able to do really was ask. I think they had an example question down here. They were able to say something like, let's see. Let me find the word because I remember the word. It was drive. Okay. For example, when the participant heard the phrase, "I don't have my driver's license yet," the participant is in the MRI machine. They heard the phrase, "I don't have my driver's license yet." The AI model just watched her brain light up as she said that, and then it took the patterns of her brain and it made the words, "She has not even started to learn to drive yet." So the AI interpreted her brain lighting up basically in the same kind of area of what she's
Wow.
talking about.
Really?
Yes.
It
Yes.
interpreted her brain signals into the
Yes.
communication, into a language.
Yes.
So it
Yes.
basically took the
It's not
electrical
exact.
signals. Right, it's not exact, but it took the electrical signals from her brain
Yes.
and translated it to a language for us, kinda
Yes.
like a
And we're not.
babble fish from,
Yeah.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Yes.
Galaxy.
And we're not
Oh, it's
talking about
great.
anybody with like probes implanted in their brain either. We're talking about somebody who's just laying in an
Laying in an
MRI bed.
MRI machine.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Now, what are the potential benefits of something like this? Well, somebody that cannot speak, somebody
Yeah.
that cannot speak, they may be
Coma
able to.
patients. Are coma patients able to hear us? Can they hear us?
I don't know.
Put
Isn't
a
that
coma
crazy?
patient in an MRI machine now and
But you do
talk
have
to
to.
them and
You
have
do have to
AI
train
see
it.
if they can. Well, yeah, I mean, I mean, this is a possibility, isn't it? For a coma
It's not.
patient?
It's not impossible. It would be outrageously expensive, but like,
Who cares?
why
Fucking
not?
money's
Why not?
money. Yeah, money. We give. This is a possibility to answer medical questions to help these people. Or is a coma patient laying there in hell?
Right.
Or do we need to be doing something different to them? What's going on? This is great. That's just one
Right.
possibility.
Yeah.
But what are the cons? I can see this. I can't really. I can't pinpoint a con just yet. But for some reason, I have this looming.
Yeah.
Geez,
I mean, like, aren't
not a good thing.
there like don't you? I mean, we know they have like night vision goggles and they have like infrared goggles. Certainly, there's cameras that can see on a spectrum that could probably look right through your skull and see like electrical resonance bouncing off of your brain, right? So like, it's
And
not
if you train
impossible that.
someone to be able to, or they had the AI, they could tell they could be a human lie detector. I wonder if they could use it that way as a human lie detector. You
Oh, dude,
say one thing,
if they had,
but your
if the
brain
police had,
fires off something else.
yeah,
If I can tell if you're lying.
what if police put these cameras inside of the room of the interrogation
Interrogation.
room, and then they're like, "So, tell us what happened. Did you murder this person?" And you're like, "I don't want to talk to anybody. I want my lawyer." And they just kind of sit there and they just go through the scenarios and they wait until the camera lights up things like, because you're inside of your brain, you're like, "Don't
You're
talk,
thinking.
don't talk, don't talk, don't talk." Oh, I stabbed her a bunch of times. Don't talk. So, like,
But then you get to JJ, you open up a whole nother can of worms. Is that justifiable? Because I can have thoughts in my head sometimes that I'm like, geez, I wish JJ would shut the fuck up and go, and move on to a different,
he doesn't know how to do this job.
No, I mean, but do you see what I mean? Sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna punch that guy. And I don't really want to punch the guy, but should I be charged with thinking? Should I be charged with assault because I've thought I want to punch?
We're gonna get to thought crime, dude. We're gonna get to
goddamn stupid ass fucking Tom Cruise movie.
Yes. Dude, everything comes back to Tom Cruise. You know it.
It does for some reason.
We're gonna get to thought crime. We're gonna have
I was even listening to some hokey morning show on the way in the other morning, and the idiot on the morning show was talking about how I watched
I watched the new Top Gun movie on the airplane home, and it was stupid. And I thought that was the stupidest movie ever, and blah, blah, blah. And they were all talking about how stupid the movie was. And I was like, I think this is hilarious now. Y'all are all, after y'all all have been brainwashed, y'all are all realizing that the movie was stupid. And Top Gun was really not the greatest fucking movie in the history of movies either.
I mean, depends how much you like
they brought up a good thing about Top Gun. They were like, they're like, my kid watched Top Gun, and he was like, Dad, so where's the bad guys in this movie? And he was like, well, it's a movie against facing your own. I don't know where the bad guys are because they're all in training through the whole damn movie, and their bad guys are each other. Is Val Kilmer the bad guy? No. Who's the bad guy? I don't know, because it's a stupid movie.
Richter's over on Rumble. He corrected me. It's not thought crime. It's pre-crime.
It's pre-crime. That's right. Thank you, Richter.
You're right. You're right, Richter.
You've been. I'm gonna get the fucking precogs
so,
after you, JJ.
The godfather of AI, has quit working at Google.
I read that.
He regrets his life's work due to risks to humanity. Is AI going to be the downfall of us all, dude? I mean, how can AI do worse than what we're doing with our own banking system?
Will be. I was talking about this the other day. I think AI. Do you know we as because of how we've lived in our time period will be able to experience this. We'll be able to answer this question. But do you remember how different it was when we actually got the internet? Like now the access of information compared to when we were in high school doing a term paper. When I did my senior thesis, we had a 14.4 connection and news groups and MUDs and shit like that. We didn't have no internet and stuff like that.
No, it was agonizingly slow to get
agonizingly slow. There was no Wikipedia and shit like that.
And I don't even think I used the internet until I had.
We played a MUD, a multi-user dungeon, and we got on. We had a bunch of news groups, and news groups were basically like forums now, you know. But anyway, the internet changed. It was a major step, right?
Yeah,
major step. And then we had the internet, and then we got apps. Okay. Apps were a major step from programs and all that shit that we had.
Yeah.
Apps were a huge.
Well, when apps came out, bulletin board. You had like dial-up internet, and then you had bulletin boards, and then you had some websites that were GeoCities websites, and then the iPhone comes out with nothing, and then you get apps. And you're right, that's a like major turning point.
Apps was another major turning point for us. So we had the internet, we had apps. AI is just the next major turning point for us.
Yeah,
it's on par. I don't know if I'm going to put it on par with the internet, how much the internet changed things, but I will put it on par with how much apps change things, with the ease of access of so many things that the apps caused, or like the USB port. The USB port changed everything, but it really wasn't a major thing. It was just an ease of access that changed everything. And I think that's what AI is going to be. It's going to be ease of access that changes everything.
Well, right now we all kind of have to talk to the same dumb AI.
And it's just because we had the. I mean, this is the 14.4 connection.
It is.
This is the 14.4 connection.
Pretty like right now, I think there's a project out there where they can actually put Chat GPT 3.5, which is not the latest one. The latest one is GPT 4, I believe. But they can put the entire Chat GPT AI on a phone. What if you can walk around with a totally independent, isolated instance of the AI?
Dude. I read about this months ago, but I've been reading about another one since. They've been doing it with other ones since, and I keep reading these stories come up. But the first story I read was some dude took Chat GPT and he put it in non-player characters in the video game Skyrim. And I thought, holy shit, this is going to change fucking video games. I even went to one of my groups that it's got a bunch of my video game buddies in it, and I typed, I shared the story, and I was like, this shit is going to change online video games, because if you have an NPC that will always remember your conversations that you have with it, and it can go back and it can create it is
you're thinking like more
GPT.
continuity, right? I'm thinking like,
Oh my God. I would play that fucking Skyrim if all those people were able to be I would never leave that game world.
My mind immediately went to two places. One, NPCs are now going to be emotionally abusive to you. They're gonna they're gonna get mad, and they're just
absolutely.
And two, some NPCs will then develop like a stalker behavior, where instead of staying where they're at in the tavern, they're like walking you around. They're like, "Don't talk to this guy. He's gonna kill you.
He's a prick." That would be great.
This guy owes me $10. This guy owes me $10. He won't.
This guy pickpocketed me, and I saw it.
And then the NPCs will start talking to each other about you, and nobody will help you.
We could form a mob.
You get run out of town.
One more with technology. This is not so much AI, but I read about this yesterday, and you were like,
you put this up, and I was like, what? And then I looked at it, and I was like, oh, come on. But go ahead. We'll see.
All right, so I'm not going to get into it. This will be one of the articles that I'm going to post in our Discord server that you can read in detail, because it does explain a lot of stuff that you need to know, because it basically explains how transistors are made. And then once you know how the transistor is made and what happens with the transistor, with the electrical current and stuff that goes through the elements, it then explains that they have done this with balsa wood. All right. And they were able to not get the same amount of electricity to flow through it, but they were able to get a hertz to go through it. And you know, they're showing in that picture right there, there's the conductive, and that's what, and blah, 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 blah. And I read the whole article, and it explains it very well. I mean, it's very easy to understand. It's just, I'm not going to go through it right here because we're running short on time. We got a lot more stories. I just thought that, and I told JJ, I just wanted to mention this. I thought it was a really cool first step to like bio engineering of things. Like if we know that wood can transmit at least one, this is a first step to maybe some sort of bio engineering type stuff. I just thought it was really freaking interesting story. And like I said, I'll post this over on our Discord server so that you can read it more in detail, because it's really, I thought it was really interesting.
They essentially like took like a piece of wood, and then they applied some chemical to I'm going to just say consume channels of the wood. Like some parts of it were reactive or whatever, and it hollowed out the wood in certain parts, and then they filled it with like a conductive polymer. So they turned it into sort of an insulated conductive polymer of some sort.
Yeah.
I'm too dense. I don't see the application.
But they've done it with wood, and they don't have to use a material that they mine for all the fucking time.
Okay, so they don't have to do plastic to do, you know,
or not plastic, but germanium or germanium or whatever the freaking whatever that element's called. I don't remember. You know, the transistors are made from a couple of different things, silicon and the whatever. And I mean, they don't. Yeah, read the article; it's really cool. And I mean, if we can make it from wood, maybe. Hey, we did this from wood. Can we do it with grass? Go out there and fucking pick a piece of grass and see if we can do it with grass. Holy shit, we got a hertz to go through a grass blade, dude. If we could do that with grass is the only living thing that grows on that is present on every continent besides humans.
Right.
Grass grows on every continent.
Ride with me here for just a moment.
Okay.
We genetically engineer grass to turn it into a conductive element, and I
can already see where you're going with this.
An entire planet covered in conductive grass that is able to be a sort of a supercomputer. Mm-hmm. And We can use that supercomputer to calculate the meaning of life.
Oh, okay. 42. It's 42. I can already tell you the answer. We've already done that.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know where you were going, but that was a good one. That was
All right.
You took it
Okay. All right.
Okay. Nice.
I forgot one story. Let's get this down real important in our day and age, and then I think we'll probably be. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I hope you got something else. Kansas Republican lawmakers are enacting sweeping transgender bathroom law, and they will override the Democratic governor's veto. Republican legislators in Kansas have enacted a bill to prevent transgender people from using the restrooms associated with their gender identities, overriding the governor. The measure is
maybe they should be genital identities.
I don't know.
Maybe they shouldn't be gender identities. It should be genital identities. What's your genitals? Oh, you've got male genitals? Oh, I don't care if you tuck them back or hang it or sling them forward. You're a male. Next. Oh, you got female genitals? You're a female. Next.
The House.
Am I wrong?
Look, I mean, we have. We live in the most retarded world. We have to talk about this shit all the time. It's like, this is not something, but it's constant. Okay. Which is better? Which is worse? I mean, just like 2 days ago, we read a story about like a prisoner transferred to a women's facility, a transgender prisoner who like was a rapist, gotten put into a women's facility because he identifies as a woman.
What he did?
Yeah.
And guess what he did?
Guess what? So okay, bathrooms. Now, I believe this law will only apply to like public restrooms on public properties and things like that. I'm not sure. What is better? Is it better for because I think I know the answer. Is it better for trans women to be able to go into the women's restroom because they identify as a woman, or is it better for trans women to go into a male restroom because they're biologically male? Which is safer, and for who? Is it safer for the trans woman to go in the women's restroom than to go in the men's restroom and potentially be beat up by a bunch of hostile men? Or is it safer for women, for the trans woman to go into the male restroom so that he doesn't rape anyone?
You know, unfortunately, the conversation has come to this. Trans people. JJ and I, as fathers, don't want a man going into the bathroom with my daughter.
Right.
That
I don't want my daughter at risk in any regard.
I don't want my daughter at risk. I don't want a man going into the bathroom with my daughter, period. I don't care if the man has a skirt on. I don't care if the man is now, and here's where I'm getting at. Here's the problem. There are men that are going to take advantage of this because we have already seen it. JJ just cited an example. We've talked about them before here on the show. Okay. This is the problem. So this proposes to the trans people, this is a problem that you have now. This is a problem that has been created in society, just like everything else. Just like we say the guns. Responsible people can own guns, but crazy fucking people get guns and they ruin it for everybody. The same thing can be said for this. Responsible trans people can go into the bathroom with my daughter. A responsible trans man, woman, whatever, can go to the bathroom with my daughter and act like it was any other bathroom with any other normal person in society where you don't say a word, you do your business, you wash your hands, you get the fuck out.
Right.
All right. But there are crazy people out there that will take advantage of this, just like everything else. And this is the problem. This is my problem. My daughters range from 11 to fixing to be 18. I worry about this shit all the time. And it is an ingrained worry. I can remember one time when my daughters were out back in the creek and I hadn't heard from them in a while. And I went out back and I was standing there and I couldn't hear them and I couldn't hear them. And I called their names and I called their names and 5 minutes went by and I called their names again. And I'm starting to panic a little bit. And I went down and they just couldn't hear me. I had tried to text them and nobody would answer.
Yeah.
I've seen the way guys look. I'm a guy.
Yeah.
I know. I used to be a 20-year-old guy. I watch, I see things.
I don't know. I don't know what the answers are. I definitely don't believe that the government needs to be passing laws about everything, because the government's not going to save us from this problem. The problem is that we as a society are we are allowing the premise that, like, oh, this is totally fine and legitimate. It's still, we as a society, not the government is allowing or disallowing people to use certain restrooms. We as a society are saying, well, it's fine. You do whatever you want to do. You're an adult. You be whoever you want to be. It's totally fine. I'm inclined to say, you live your life however you want. I don't care. Leave me out of it. That's my inclination, and I'm totally that way up until it's to the point where, like, you could actually put one of my family members at risk. And that's where I have to stop and be like, okay, what are we doing here? Why are we allowing people? It's not just like, oh, trans women. Oh, this guy feels like he's a woman and he feels happier and identifies as a woman. Okay, all right, maybe that's true, or maybe that person has got mental illness of some kind, and that person with mental illness is going to be going into private spaces that I won't go into, but my kids will. I don't know. It's and the thing is, like, we're in international competition with countries and other societies. They don't have this silly problem. They don't have this silly internal turmoil. Now they have a lot of other problems that are very bad. I don't know. I hope that this eventually goes away, but I don't know.
Yeah. I got one more story and leave you on a happy note before you have to get your dad.
Let's have a happy note. Oh, and by the way, chat is pretty funny right now. Listen to this, Deke.
Okay, go ahead.
AI takes over grass and the Earth becomes Death Star.
That's a good one.
And then Richter says, "Now can you do Obi-Wan Kenobi's voice? Can you do Obi-Wan Kenobi's voice?"
I would have to listen to Obi-Wan.
That's pretty good. Okay, so here's the line. Here's your line.
Obi-Wan.
That's no lawn.
That's no lawn. Oh, that's no lawn.
That's not the lawn you're looking for. Okay.
That's not the lawn you're looking for. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Ewan McGregor would talk more. He's got more of a kind of an English little. It's not so much, but yeah. Okay, so yeah. All right.
So
I've got a story for you.
Yeah,
you'll like this
last
one.
Last story, and then
all right.
Yuck
And if your girls come in, you'll like this one too. You could bring your girls in for this one.
I can hear them.
JJ. So, scientists have taught pet parrots to video call each other, and the birds love it, dude. The birds love it. All right. So these domesticated parrots have learned to initiate video chats with other parrots and have had a variety of positive experience, such as learning new skills. Researchers from Northeastern University, the University of Glasgow, and MIT report this month in this publication. She came alive during the calls, one pet parent said about their bird, according to Northeastern University statement. The idea for this study was not random. In the wild, parrots tend to live in large flocks, but when kept in captivity, such as in people's homes as pets, these social birds are often on their own, feeling bored and isolated. They may develop psychological issues and can even resort to self-harming tendencies like plucking out their feathers. Lonely parrots are unhappy parrots, so researchers set out a way to find some of the estimated 20 million pet birds living in the United States to connect with each other. So they took volunteers from Parrot Kindergarten, an online training program for parrot owners and their beloved pets. During the first 2 weeks of study, owners taught their birds to ring a bell, then touch an image of another pet parrot on a tablet screen to initiate a video call. In this initial phase, the participating birds made 212 video calls while their owners carefully monitored their behavior. Owners terminated calls as soon as the birds stopped paying attention to the screen and capped the duration at 5 minutes. Though 18 parrots began the experiments, 3 dropped out. Once the birds had learned how to initiate video interactions, the second phase of the experiment could begin. In this open call period, the 15 participating birds could make calls freely. They also got to choose which bird to dial up. Over the next 2 months, pet parrots made 147 deliberate video calls to other birds.
Wow.
Their owners took detailed notes about the calls and recorded more than 1,000 hours of video footage that the researchers analyzed. Isn't that awesome?
That's crazy. That's
I
interesting.
love that. I love it.
I wonder what it's
I'll
like from
post
the
this.
perspective of the birds. Like, you know,
Oh man, it's gotta be great.
this is something they can't even imagine. This is like magic. It's literally magic. Like, there's no other bird here, but I'm talking to a bird. I don't understand.
Or they're going, fuck, finally they gave me access to the tablet.
Yeah. When are they going to let me talk to AI? I'm so bored.
Yeah,
I keep
can
pooping
I
in
get
my cage.
ChatGPT on this thing? So I'll post this in as well. I thought that was a really cool story I read yesterday. I can just imagine those little birds chipping and chirping to each other and talking to each other. I thought that was cute.
So,
all right. So join our Discord
number
server. Leave a dad joke for JJ.
Whoa.
He would greatly appreciate it.
You must wear clothes if you come over here, young lady. Okay. No, stay off camera. All right. No. I'm serious. It's not funny.
Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, you need to
Deke,
turn your camera.
we're number 2 on the list as far as I see. So we're number 2 on the podcast list on rumble.com right now.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Hi, everybody.
Hey. All right, guys. Deke, I have a question for you. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's a question. Maybe it's not. Deke, what did the judge say to the dentist?
What did the judge say to the dentist?
Yes.
I don't know, JJ.
Do you swear to tell? No. Dang, I messed it up.
No, you had it.
No.
Say it.
Do you swear to pull the tooth and nothing but the tooth? Yeah, I messed it up. That was terrible. That was terrible.
All right.
You go.
I got a
I'm gonna
better
try
one.
again.
All right.
Awful.
All right. So listen to this one. This guy walks into a bar after a long day and he orders this drink. Okay.
Yeah.
He sits down. He orders this drink. Out of nowhere, he hears this real high-pitched voice say, "That shirt looks really good on you." So he kind of looks around. He's don't know where it's coming from. So he returns to drinking. A moment later, the voice says, "You look like a really cool guy." Looks around. He can't figure out where it's coming from. So he believes the voice is gone after a while, and he hears, "I bet your parents are really proud of you." He's looking down. Nobody else is in the bar, and the bartender kind of walks back up, and he's like, "Hey, man, what barkeep? Where's this voice I keep hearing?" He goes, "Oh, it's the peanuts. They're complimentary." I thought that was cute.
All right.
There's your dad joke.
All right.
Today. Thanks.
I went to the store yesterday to get to pick up 8 cans of Sprite, but when I got home, I only got 7-Up. Yeah.
Let's switch channels. This show is dull.
You bet.
Not good. It's not good at all. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 6:30 in the morning. You can watch us all day long on repeat, though. And before you leave, please hit follow and please hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment on the video. This live chat thing, it's awesome, but it doesn't help us.
Stick your left foot in and put your left foot out.
Put your left foot in, put your left foot
Shove it all
out, put on a dress and pretend you're a girl. Bye.